lifeblood was not shed. They fought and died for liberty. Don't let it be in vain. Stand up, rise up, off your knees. Your nation once again. Long Island Buttes, we made our way to the peace camp of Fast Lane. And declare disarmament, we protest and a campaign. On the misery of austerity forced by London rule. £200 billion still found. Tridents renewal. Turn on to the Highlands, where tens of thousands died. The servitude and slavery, colonies far away. 250,000 souls cleared from ancestral homes. In a land the aristocrat and Arab sheikh now owns. Returned to the capital of this northern British state. It trod me on my tenement down by the cannon gate. I woke in the afternoon and wondered I could see his lying rampant flag shield placed there next to me. That's not why for he said it's not why Wallace played. To power and base subservience, lifeblood was not shed. They fought and died for liberty, don't let it be in vain. Rise up, stand up, off your knees. Your nation once again. Rise up, stand up, off your knees. Be a nation once again. Thank you very much, thank you. Okay, folks, I sung this song over in The Hague. I sung it in Germany, and I had people singing along. He came to the rally that day. So I'm sure that you can give me a wee hand to sing this song as well. It's a song called Independence Day. And the chorus goes, Independence Day, yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day. So please help me with the chorus when I get to the chorus. Thank you. I wrote this just before 2014. And I'm going to keep on singing it until the day comes when we do win our independence. I was standing on the street today with my yes badge on. A stranger, he approached me to tell me I was wrong. He said I was a dreamer, I let him have his say. I said, yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of Independence Day. And when that day comes around, oh, we will for sure. We will have a country where all can be assured. A nation of equality, fairness and respect. The government we vote for is the government we get on Independence Day. Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day. I'm no anti-English, and not an Irish or the Welsh. I'm just dreaming of a country that distributes its wealth. Downtrodden people have opportunity to change, free themselves from the traps of poverty. On Independence Day, on Independence Day, yes, my friend, I'm dreaming on Independence Day. And I know I am fortunate, I know well off I am, compared to those in Syria or in the Palestine. I'm just dreaming of a country one day we'll be free to determine our future and our people's destiny on Independence Day. Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming on Independence Day. You talk, come on. Up there on the hill, come on! Independence Day, Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming on Independence Day. Yeah, I was standing on the road today, still my yes badge on. Stranger, he approached me to tell me I was wrong. He said I was a dreamer. Oh, well, I let him have his say. He said, yes, my friend, I'm dreaming on Independence Day. Hey-o. Thank you very much. I've just got time for one more song. I had a wee song for all you freedom fighters out there. Especially dedicated to Magnificent Ian Russell. First I saw the hidden man and the burning crosses. I was a boy back then. The white supremacists, they terrorized me. They hung my father from a sycamore tree. So yes, I took the violence, led by the sword. Was my way until I found my Lord. Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly. Wherever there's injustice, there will always be me. First they trespassed upon my land. In my defense, I took a stance. They placed my people in the reservations. They suffered death and disease, starvation. When every treaty the blue coats go, the 300 braves are led in a vote. And Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly. Wherever there's injustice, there will always be me. I'm a freedom fighter, don't be confused. don't call me a terrorist because I refuse to see my people oppressed and displaced because of their color, their culture, their race. I will not be silenced, will not be contained whilst people suffer for another man's gain. Yes, I drove them from my land with their unjust ways and their king's command. But Longshanks he sent a vengeful force, 10 times our numbers on a heavy horse. On Stirling Bridge we're routed there, and the river ran wet with the blood of man. Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, and wherever there's injustice, there'll always be. With my comrades, I rebelled. I was executed in Carmina jail. But on matter, I became. I lit the fire, I filled the flame. For the people's struggle for liberation, free their country from foreign occupation. Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, and wherever there's injustice, Malcolm X, Geronimo, Yasser Arafat, Barabbas, Che Guevara, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, wherever there's injustice, there will always be me. You'll always have me. You'll always find me. Thank you very much, that's Kevin Gore. Thank you, all the best. Cheers. See you on the triples.
If you want to hear more of Kevin, come to another rally. He always turns up at them. Or go to the Royal Oak in Edinburgh every week. He runs a show there. Or go and see his Fringe show, Going Native. Busy man, but still finds time to come and do this. I've got a few wee announcements. People, first aider, please. Well, if there's a first aider, there should be a first aider available. Could you come down just behind the sound tent there, please? ASAP. Or maybe should have put this comment before, but I didn't want to interrupt Kevin singing. Also, Elizabeth Borwick, if you're here, somebody's found some of your lost property, Elizabeth, from North Ayrshire. So if you want to come down again to the back of the sound tent, we'll get that. Also, on a health note, there's somebody really suffering from hay fever here, and she's asked if somebody's got a wee spare hay fever tablet. Okay, we don't want another casualty on the field of Bannockburn, so if you've got a wee spare Piriton or something like that, bring it down here and help us out. Okay, time for some more speakers. Thanks very much. And glasses. Anybody want a pair of glasses? Come here. Okay, next up, a man who has been fighting the battle for a long time. He's been involved in setting up over a dozen different SNP branches throughout his lifetime, including one in South Africa. But today he's the secretary of the Celtic League of Nations. He's the chairman of the 1820 Society. We all know Stirling's connection to Bruce and Wallace, but connection to the 1820 radicals. So we're going to have some interesting stuff for a man that's walked the walk for a long time. Greenock's own Ian Ramsey.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, can I remind you, you're on sacred ground, and I don't want to see any litter. I've just picked this up. Remember, you're on very sacred ground where your ancestors bled their precious blood for freedom. And I don't want to disrespect this beautiful battlefield with litter such as this. "65 years ago today, I came to this battlefield as a boy of 15. There was no statue there. There was no rotunda, no flag flying. It was a bare field with the boar stone, just a simple stone about 3 feet thick, where Bruce is believed to have put his standard into this stone. The field was bare. In fact, we had to spread the grass out of the road to see the stone. This is how far we've come. Oh, the joy it gives my heart to see you 15,000 people here fighting and struggling for your very independence. On the 23rd of June, the first day of the battle, there was an advance party of the English came riding up, and Bruce was out only with light armour, light chainmail, and the golden crown on his helmet. And a young English knight, only 22 years of age, Sir Henry de Bohun, decided, my God, he thought, if I could take this Scottish king down with one blow, I would go back to England a hero. Well, he went back to England in a box because he rode very fastly with his great lance at Bruce. Now, Bruce, according to the laws of chivalry, had every right to retreat into his own lines and get into proper armour. Bruce never budged. He remained there on his light horse, and this knight with the great charger and the great lance come charging at him, and he waited to the last minute, reared the horse up, and brought the battle axe down on de Bohun's head, splitting 2 helmets, and plus the leather protection piece. And there was de Bohun's horse riding on with a headless horseman. In fact, there's rumours in the pub round about here, if you take a shortcut over here at night, you will see the ghost of the headless horseman. Now, I don't know how true that is. It all depends what brand of whiskey you're drinking that night. But de Bohun was filled with this one. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful boost to the morale of the Scottish Army, which was estimated to be outnumbered 3-1. But Bruce was such a brilliant statistician that he actually made sure that the English army came at him at a limited front. Bruce was a brilliant general. And don't forget the trials and the sacrifice he made. His very own 2 young brothers. Nigel Bruce, only 15 years of age. If you saw that film, Braveheart, he was given the same death by Edward as William Wallace. Hung, drawn, and quartered. And was Thomas Bruce. Bruce, in actual fact, his brothers were all killed. Bruce was the only man to die his bed. In fact, the Irish contingent that came, over 600 men came from Ireland to help against the common enemy, the invader, the English invader. Those people went back to Ireland, were so impressed by Bruce and his brother Edward Bruce that they asked their kings there, the 4 kings of Ireland, to make Bruce the Ardree, which in Gaelic means the High King. So Bruce, his brother Edward, went to become the king, and he was the last king of all Ireland. A very important part. And I am the secretary of the Celtic League. That is, of the 6 countries, the main countries of the Celtic League, who are all determined to become self-governing and independent nations. The only one that has been successful so far is Ireland. But we have Brittany, we have Cornwall, we have the Manx, we have the Welsh. And Alapagubra, we have Scotland struggling for independence. Thank you for coming here and being so attentive. By the way, I want to mention one thing. I said fellow Scots at the beginning. Perhaps I should have called you fellow aliens, because just before the negotiations of the Union, the so-called Union, which was really a treaty of annexation, the English Parliament passed a law declaring all Scots aliens. And that was passed in 1705. I've just discovered 2 weeks ago that it was never repealed for 160 years. So, fellow aliens, remember, they were insisting that they were a superior race to you. How could you have a union with a country that thought that of you? Absolute nonsense. We are not aliens. We are Scots. We're proud of it. But we don't think we're any better than anybody else. And that's why we respect every other nation's independence. I opened a book the other day, it was the Flags of the World. And every page I came to, it says, after obtaining independence. After obtaining independence, they all went from strength to strength. That's where we're going. From strength to strength. Alapagubra! Scotland forever.
Thank you, Ian Ramsey. 65 years an activist and still passionate as ever. Just remember that when we take a wee dunt or a wee bit of bad news, I'll accept back. Okay, I've got 2 more speakers and then I'm going to have an absolute living legend of Scottish culture, Alistair MacDonald, doing some songs for us. But a couple of damn good speakers first. In the meantime, before these guys come on, can I just make another couple of announcements? Aye. This man, or a man very like him, wearing a vest very like him, is going to come among the crowd and going to ask for some donations, some spare change. It's been a cracking day, a lovely day. Stick something in the bucket, all this stuff, we have to hire it. It all comes at a cost. We'll go to the next rally, we'll use it in Inverness, we'll use it in Dundee. So give a bit and we can have a cracking rally next time we see all you guys. And it keeps him quiet as well, thank you. Also, I love my indie family. See when I put a shout out for a hay fever tablet, there was about 20 people backstage here all throwing tablets at us. It was Bruno thought he was back at the Manchester Hacienda. It was all these tablets flying about. What a caring bunch you are, thank you. And on a similar note, we found a pair of glasses. So if anybody's lost a pair of glasses, but we also have got a guy who's lost his glasses, but the glasses we found only his glasses. So if anybody finds glasses or wants glasses or anything, just come down and we'll do some glass exchange thing. Okay, especially if you find this guy's glasses. Okay, sorry, next speaker. I'm not going to do that full name, surname thing, because this guy's a non-conformist, he doesn't do that. He might look like he's all about history, and he is, he's a good erudite historian, but he's not all about looking back. He's a modern day blogger, is exposing and challenging contemporary injustices and corruption online. So welcome, with his friend, the Bruce, the last Jacobite.
Here we are again then, eh? Where you at? Glasgow. Where you at, Dumfries? Well, then I don't need to tell you I'm a walking, talking act of rebellion, and I intend to be that way. Maybe today will be the day they hang me. Maybe today. I'll tell you though, folks, a lot of people accuse me of living in the past. They say, what's this Jacobite stuff all about? You're living in the past. Well, I'll tell you, if you don't know your past, you have no future. And they're trying to take your past away from you. What do you want? When do you want it? What do you want? When do you want it? What do you want? When do you want it? Well, what the hell are we waiting for? What the hell are we waiting for? Now, I'm going to tell you something, folks. Scotland cannot be taken from the outside. Go ask the Romans that tried it for hundreds of years and had to build a wall. Go ask Edward Longshanks that thought that he could dismiss the spirit of Scotland and was sent homewards to think again. Scotland cannot be taken from out with. But on the field of Culloden, and most of you won't know this, it wasn't a Scottish army that faced an English army, far from it. More than 70% of those wearing the red coat on Culloden's field were Scots. Were Scots. Can you imagine if they just had a wee bit patriotism? How different it could be. I'm not a politician, I never will be. I promise this everywhere I go. I will not stand for election anywhere. I want no office, nothing. All I want is Scotland to be free. Now, how are you going to do it? Because I tell you, if you don't do it, stop waiting for anyone else to do it for you. It ain't going to happen. Mundell stood up in that English Parliament and broke the Act of Union. He said Scotland is not a partner in the Union, it's part of the Union. That, my friends, annuls and breaks the Act of Union. Why aren't our MPs home? Even worse than that, your own Lord Advocate has turned around and given his legal opinion that our Parliament is not sovereign because it was created by Westminster, which is sovereign, and therefore it can be taken away. Are you going to let them take our Parliament away? Well, stop waiting. What the hell are we waiting for? Now, I have a wee idea, and I'm not going to go on. I'm not going to bore you. But here's my wee idea. We have to prove that we want independence. And how do we do that? Because the BBC ain't going to listen to you. The corrupt pollsters are not going to listen to you. The politicians don't want to hear you. What do we want? When do we want it? Now, I hope the politicians are going to speak later can hear that. We don't want sometime in the dim and distant. We want now. People's doorstep referendum, folks. People's doorstep referendum. The Facebook page is up and running. We'll have the web page up soon. Get involved. Speak to your neighbours. Ask them, do you want independence? Aye or no? Give me the results. Give me 1/2 of the Scottish population plus 1, and we will enact the Declaration of Arbroath. If you want freedom, you are going to have to take it. They ain't going to give it to you. Do you understand me? And just finishing, can I just say, as I look out from this stage, on this sacred field, it wasn't the army of Bruce that beat the English. It wasn't. Bruce didn't even want to fight here. You see, his problem was Stirling Castle over there, and his damn brother the fool, the impetuous, he made a deal with the commander and said, if you're not relieved in a year, you'll surrender to me. And the commander said, aye, that'll do me. Because he knew that Edward Longchamp would get his army up here. Well, the battle was pretty even, Stevens, until a certain something happened. The camp followers came streaming off Gillies Hill. Streaming, all the men, women and children, carrying anything they could carry. And the English thought it was a second Scottish army. And that's what made them turn and flee and die at the Bannockburn. It's that easy. Politicians won't do it for you folks. If you want freedom, you got to ask yourself, what would the Bruce do? And what the hell are we waiting for? So Alba, good brass.
Thank you very much. The last Jacobite. Okay, so that's, I covered a lot of the historical stuff, where we've come from, and we're going to look at where we're going now. And to do that, to make that link, I've got a good friend come up now who's a child of the diaspora, a product of Scotland's, one of the saddest chapters in Scotland's history, but returned with some good ideas and good energy. If you've got some charge in your phones, maybe get your phones on and record some of that, because she's going to make quite an important, I think, quite an important speech. Ariel Killick.
Feskamach Arjun, hi everybody. I've got a question. Who remembers the part of the vow that said Scotland wasn't a partner, just a part? Who remembers Gordon Brown saying that the most powerful devolved government in the world couldn't be trusted with the keys to open the door to its own diaspora and keep or welcome in Gaelic-speaking children and skilled young people to our Highland and Island communities? The list of reasons for independence seems like it grows longer every day, so I'll speak just for one. For those who can't be here, for those forced to leave or not even let in. The Zielsdorfs of Lagan, with their 5 kids and lifeline service shop in a seriously depopulated part of the Highlands, forced back to Calgary, of all places in Canada. That Calgary, whose Mull namesake was such an important departure point for so many clearances victims, so many of them dying on those long sea journeys, their bodies tossed into the ocean. For Sheena Halfpenny, a young Nova Scotian Gael, recently denied entry to teach and help set up a new Gaelic medium unit in Bannockburn Primary School in Mull. Or the Australian Brain family and their son in Gaelic medium education in the Highlands, who came so perilously close to deportation. Van Prief finished at 4 jaar nur horsti nach allen an anam na halba in the Kohunian Skrissel Shiniyelev. So as you may have guessed, I am indeed originally from Australia. One of my ancestors ended up after his entire village were cleared off their lands in Sheila, right next to Bannockburn in Mull. I also co-founded Australia's first and ongoing Scots Gaelic summer schools some 21 years ago, and also largely via Gaelic. I've worked with and met over 13,000 children right across Scotland in the last 5 years, including those in Bannockburn Primary School. And I am done with this. Aslen chai sparrow ar a falav. Nagalav is nach pudding chili. Galba. Nagalav is a vasik runach wadach. There has never been a greater time at a greater place to listen to the voices of our ancestors, what they fought for and failed and yet stood again to win. We too must face, though not with weapons to wound, but with words to win hearts and minds and tell the truth, that a union in which Scotland's representatives can always be outvoted by English Tories who care more about football than the future of devolution is not a union that's fit for our future. That last battle we lost for independence, those who won the war had no intention of keeping the vow. And we see that so unashamedly from them now. We're just a part whose history and concerns can be dismissed. Not a partner who can open the door to its own diaspora. Just a part who is dictated to. Not a partner who can design its own laws to best suit its needs. Just a part given a fraction of powers over finance. Not a partner with full authority over all its revenue to build this country to all it can be. Just a part forced to watch the needless reinfliction of deep cultural trauma. Not a partner given the keys to open the door to our own diaspora. With those fatal words from Mundell, let it be forever known that it was Tory arrogance and stupidity that signed the death warrant on the Union. Mundell, who unwittingly told us it's time to depart a union in which we are nothing but a part, for a future where the votes of Scotland's voters always matter and a government that gets it wrong can get voted out. For those who think it's only ever about the economy, stupid, I'd encourage you to think just how much is it costing us to stay in Britain. The cost of lost freedoms to 27 countries for our children taken against our will. The cost of vital EU farming subsidies and funding for our cultural sectors, our academic sectors, our science sectors taken against our will. Costing us, our vital EU citizens, so valued in our communities, farming, hospitality, aged care, the NHS, and more. What it costs our soul to stay in the state of Britain that only stopped the disgrace of the Windrush generation scandal because it got found out. Implementing Enoch Powell-esque policies of forced repatriation for black and brown Brits. Essentially and undeniably ethnic cleansing. You may gasp, people died, brought to the brink of suicide, permanently separated from their family, homes, and loved ones. Any deep injustice always encounters deep opposition from those comfortable with the status quo that works for the few, but not the many. There will always be those who shout down arguments for progress as being needlessly divisive and causing a fuss. Well, the ending of slavery was divisive. The granting of votes to women was divisive, causing division of the most intimate kind between husbands and wives, parents and daughters and more. And yet, we look over the chasm of history and see our forebears were right. And we look over the last 4 years and see that we were wrong. Unlike those who boldly made the choice for change before us, our country chose the comfort of the status quo, and since has been subject to 4 long years of near constant discomforting disdain and now open outright contempt. The enforced silence and acceptance of this status quo does no service to our citizens. Scotland may have gifted the world the Enlightenment, but now we need to enlighten ourselves and see this civic nationalist movement for what it is, a civil rights movement that seeks to end once and for all the arrogance of Westminster's have-cake and eat-it approach to Scotland that tramples on our democratic rights and will eat away our future. This battle for independence may be long, but it is people like you who campaign to end transportation to Australia, effectively a life sentence for the petty crime of the poor and hungry. It is people like you that campaign to end slavery. And it will be people like you who will end the injustice where Scotland is just a tiny ignorable part of a place, rather than the proud and ancient nation the warriors who fell here meant us to be.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you. Okay, thanks for hanging about. It's a great day, and keep hanging about. We've got some more really good speakers, ex-local MP among them, some good musicians as well. The numbers today, 15,000. It's all right, eh? So yeah, the biggest Bannockburn rally for some years by quite some measure. So well done everybody for turning out. Thanks so much for helping rewrite history. Okay, I was to ask a couple of things. Yeah, let her pick. 15,000 people can leave a bit of a mess. Most rallies we've done quite well. The Japanese football fans actually have copied us and decided that they're going to start doing that to get after them. So, yeah, lift up what you've used. If you see any bits and pieces, lift them up as well, okay? There's plenty of bins on the way back to the buses. Don't give any of them any room to talk about this, okay? I probably don't have to say this to half of you because they're all good guys. Okay, we're going to have a legend now of Scottish culture, as I said earlier on. Somebody that taught me about Bannockburn through a song 40 years ago. Yeah, Alistair MacDonald.
Sean, thank you. Jacobites, my Jacobites, your thoughts will proclaim. Doctrines I It is really, 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 let me say it again, really, really good to be here today. People of Scotland and elsewhere, in beautiful changes. I'm overwhelmed by the number of people that I meet on such days that are kind and generous and gracious enough to tell me that my music may easily have started them off on the road to knowing more about Scotland, more about their heritage, more indeed about their ever-changing culture. And it's so flattering to know. I was unable to make the last rally because I had an operation in my nose and blood was pouring out of my left nostril. It has stopped. It's bone that's pouring out of it now, which I found alarming to say the least. But I guess that if you want to wish me anything at all, please say, Alistair, I hope things will keep up for you. To this moment of speaking they have. I over Bannockburn, battle of Norton, Scottish men, all in good order. Down the other side, the divisions wide. Runners then over the floor. Armour from head to fist, twins through the mud. Soldiers all over Bruce, retaining north. Down the lower ground, trumpets and mutants sound. Take these invitations to come here for granted. And it was thoroughly flattering to hear from James Scott earlier on that a number of people had asked if I would include certain songs in this programme. It's turned out to be so many that that's impossible. I would just rather say, like Henry VIII used to say to his wives, I'll no keep you long. To share a stage with these people who are so dedicated to an independent and free Scotland, all I can say is the pleasure and the honour is mine. And to stand side by side with Robert Bruce himself, that's a double honour. To be quite honest, King Robert the Bruce is the only royalty I want to share a stage with. And that may yet come to pass. I'm sorry to say that when I confidently said I would sing this song by Jim McLean about Bannockburn, to my great horror, practicing it up in the house, I couldn't remember past the first verse. But you have to understand this. It is 50 years since I recorded it. I can't believe it either, when I was a child prodigy. 50 years since I recorded this song. I got to not rely on it, because concerts I would give thereafter always had people on the bill that would sing it in front of me. So I got to not depend on it. Jim McLean is a songwriter par excellence. He has written so many songs for Scotland. And most recently, he sent me this one. If you have enjoyed the royal wedding of the year, then you could easily be at least interested in this. If you'd like to sing a chorus with me, it's one of the most enduring choruses in Scottish culture. Because it happens to be an Irish one. You're too a liar, a liar, a liar. Do you think you could work yourselves up to that? You're too a liar, a liar, a liar. There once was an actress who knew her own mind. She spoke up for women and all person-kind. Till along came Prince Harry to make her his bride. She jumped on the first plane to travel by his side. But you're a liar, a liar, a liar. There was no need to wait for a passport like some. Prince Charlie just whispered a word to his mum. He talked to Teresa, they all did their bit. Wind rushed her a passport and now she's a Brit. You're a liar, a liar, a liar. The wedding would cost just a few $100,000. Horses, policemen and military bands. And even us poor folks get an invite. But bring your own picnic, for money is tight. But you're a liar, a liar, a liar. She'll have no bedroom tax, 'cause we've paid for the rent. No mortgage, no gas bill, not even a cent. And soon there'll be babies, 1, 2, maybe 3. But there'll no need to worry, for them everything's free. But you're a liar, a liar, a liar. She'll never be queen, there's too many in front. Camilla and Kate are just doing the hunt. But maybe a wee castle in a cute Scottish glen. No! For Scotland will be a republic by then. August, had to be taking part in an Edinburgh Fringe show, and that's why you must excuse me if I'm a wee bit nervous today, because I'm used to appearing in the Edinburgh Fringe and I'm not used to big crowds, and so. But it's the work of Hamish Henderson. Just to preface Hamish Henderson's song, I would ask you to sing this with me, because whatever your own personal political persuasion or none might be, whether you're in a party or not, I believe that everything that we strive for is what's written on the Declaration of Oath and inscribed in the rotunda up there. And that is a love for freedom. Don't we just love the idea of freedom? As you've heard already from Ariana, most succinctly, some of our ancestors in other parts of the world we shouldn't be too proud of, because they have upheld all manner of other things. The slave plantations of America's deep south were owned by people with some names like MacDonald, McLean, a few Rileys, a few Kellys, and a Smith or Jones. We were all in it. Yet here's the good news. We're talking now about a people who found that their hope overcame their fear, and their love for freedom was evident in their songs long before the status was conferred upon them. And if you would care to, I would love to sing this. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'd be a slave, I'd lie buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Let me sing that to you again. Join if you can. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'd be a slave, and before I'd be a slave, I'd lie buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Rock the wind in the clear day's dawn, binoculars use the beauty of the bay. But there's near no blowing to the great glow the world today. It's a thought will grassroots on the roads that gang gallus fresh and gay. Take the road unseen lonings for their place sport and play. Nay, there our bonny callants matched a war while yon braggarts crossly crawl. Nor we wings free petite and clashing, mourn the ships sailing the broomy law. Broken families in the lands we've heritage, like Scotland the brave, name it, black and white, into the marriage, Max the vile, bars of the master's bed. So come on ye, attain way freedom, never heed what the hoodies croak for doom. In the roost of the bills o' Adam, and breed barley being painted room. A proud moment for me was to see the opening ceremony of the Commonwealth Games and to hear a black South African girl sing the words of Hamish Henderson. That says it all. Black and white, angel of the merit, should mark the vile barracks with the master's there. So come home, ye, take away freedom, never heed what the hoodies croak for doom. In the roost of the bills o' Adam, we'll find breed, barley and painted room. danger fell the gallows of the burgers doom. I've got to thank a number of people here today just for their constant effort and preparation and for including me in. Believe me, the honour and the pleasure is mine. I've been privileged to share a stage with many people. Morris Blythman, poet Thurso Beck, somebody whose work I was honoured to perform last year in Edinburgh and will anytime. I even got to make an album of his material called the Rebels Cayley Songbook. If anybody still owns a Rebels Cayley Songbook, hang on to it. When Scotland is free, independent and the Republic stands, that's going to be worth a lot, even of sentimental terms. We don't seek to be monetarists or millionaires, and it's a good job for the bankers we've got. All I can say is that if anybody should be interested, and only if anybody should be interested, my lady wife Anne, who is much more organised than I am, she's over there and she's the better looking of the two of us. And I say that not just to keep in with her, but I do. But I also thank Bruno for operating the sound desk for us. Would you do that? And the two people we should never fall out with is the wife or the guy operating the sound desk. They can both make us look really stupid. So come all ye, attain way freedom, never heed what the hoodies croak for doom. In your house on the bairns o' Adam, we'll find breed, barley and painted room. So if anybody should be interested, and I'll happily let you have a CD if that's your particular hunger just now. Not only would I be delighted if you did, but it would take some weight off my attic floor as well. I have very restless nights now. Not so worried about the fracking from beneath as I am about the CDs avalanching from above. And McLean's way is fields and springs by, all day roses and games turn to bloom. And a black boy front Niagara digs the fell, goes to the burgers. Kick me the tank, I can tell a bit of that. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Alistair MacDonald. Worth waiting for. Right, that's us in the home straight now. We've got some cracking speakers lined up. Yeah, some right good names, some knowledgeable people. We found a phone, a Sony phone. If anybody's lost a Sony phone, come and give us a shout at the stage here. And if you can identify the distinctive sticker on it, it's yours. Okay, independencelive.net. I'm sure you're all familiar with what these guys do. They stream every indie event, meeting, social, debate, hustings that's been going on for years. They've got to invest in some good kit to do that, and they've got to travel about the country to do that. They've got a wee bucket over at their stall. When you're on your way out, or if you're passing, stick a few coins in there, please. Or go home and look on their site and do a wee pledge. Okay. The next speaker, blogger, renowned for his acerbic wit, his acute observations and his plain speaking. He's rather popular newspaper column, but also for having a ginger dug. And he's here with that ginger dug, and also flanked by a couple of your local women for independence in Stirling. Kim and Emily? No. Kim and another one. Paul Kavanagh.
Hi there. I think there's a wee bit too much testosterone on the stage this afternoon, so I've given up some of my time for Women for Independence for Stirling, so they're going to say a wee word first, okay?
Okay, thanks, Paul. My name's Kim, and this is Alison, and it's lovely to see so many folks here, so many women involved as well. And if I'd like to direct anybody who wants to be part of Women for Independence, it is doing politics differently. We're not going to shout at folk. We're not party political, but we take the views and interests of women's lives. And we want to take that forward and speak to women, because if we're going to win independence, then we must have the support of the majority of women for independence. So if I can like to direct you over to the right-hand side, there's lots of local groups all over Scotland. We're in Stirling, and we do lots of things in our local areas, because we're not waiting for independence. We're actually out there and trying to achieve things. And Alison, maybe you can point out one or two things that we're involved in.
Thanks, Kim. Yeah, some of the local things we've been doing, the school uniform bank, which we're raising some funds for again over at the stall. Oh, that's better, because I'm not as tall as Kim. But yeah, as Kim said, we're not looking for permission. We're just looking to do things now that we need in our communities, mainly for women and for families, things that matter to us. So, yeah, if we're not too wee, we're not too poor, we're not too stupid, neither are our communities and neither is Scotland. So, we don't need permission. Let's dissolve the union, evolve Scotland, and let Scotland flourish.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul.
Hi, everybody. Well, I'd like to, first of all, I've got to point out that the Doug is not dead. Some of you might have seen some reports on social media recently saying that the dog had passed away. He's very much alive, and he's only here for the sausages. He's done quite well today, I have to be honest. But I'd just like to pick up on what Kim said. She said something really important. She said that we're not waiting for independence, we're making it happen. And that's the most important thing that we're here to do today, is by standing here today, we're helping to make independence happen. Because we live in a country where the media is overwhelmingly biased against the cause of independence. There are 38 newspapers in this country, daily newspapers and Sunday newspapers, and only 2 of them support the cause of independence. Now, I've always believed that if Scotland had a media which was balanced in terms of its representation of the views of the population of Scotland, we'd be independent already. But we're not independent already, and one of the reasons we're not independent already is because we're constantly subject to a media barrage that glorifies in any story and spinning anything possible to point out how terrible and bad independence is, and buries anything that makes the case for independence. But I think something really significant has happened just over the past couple of weeks with the disgusting antics of the Conservatives in Westminster. And I think more and more people are beginning to realise that they can't ignore what's going on, that things have changed. And we saw that in the thousands of people who joined up to the SNP in the wake of the Westminster power grab by the Conservatives, when they shamefully told us that there would be time to debate the devolution settlement and how it was affected by Brexit after it came back from the Lords. And then they refused to allow that. Just 15 minutes time was allocated, and that was filibustered by a Conservative minister who spoke all the way through and wouldn't allow time for questions, wouldn't allow time for any amendments. And what that proves is that the devolution settlement, the thing that was sold to us as the great constitutional alternative to Scottish independence, is dead in the water. That Scotland can't get its voice heard in the Westminster Parliament. That Scotland can't be represented in the Westminster Parliament. That our interests will not be served by the Westminster Parliament. And we've seen that in the disgusting way in which the Conservatives are conducting this Brexit process. Scotland voted to remain a part of the European Union by a considerably larger margin than it voted to remain a part of the United Kingdom. And yet, our interests, our concerns, our fears and our worries are not being even considered by Theresa May and a bunch of wild, swivel-eyed Brexiteers. The only way that Scotland can make its voice heard is for Scotland to stand and say, we're going to look after ourselves. We're going to do this for ourselves. We're going to be independent. And I firmly believe that during the independence referendum campaign in 2014, the question facing Scotland was, should Scotland become an independent country? I don't think that's the question anymore. I think the question now is, when should Scotland become an independent country? And the answer to that is, as soon as fucking possible. Because make no mistake, it's going to be happening. It's on its way. Independence is coming. You know, 30,000, 40,000 people marched in the streets of Glasgow. We've had over 15,000 people here today. And you people aren't just independent supporters. You're people who are going to be campaigning for independence. You're people that are going to be out chapping the doors and out on the streets and persuading people and talking to people about the need for Scottish independence. And the British nationalist parties don't have anything like the number of people that we've got. And also they've destroyed some of the strongest arguments they made to us in 2014. No more can they tell us that Scotland is going to be a valued and equal partner in a family of nations. Not after David Mundell said that Scotland is a part of the United Kingdom and not a partner of the United Kingdom. They can't tell us anymore that they're going to promise us greater powers for the Scottish Parliament when they're bending over backwards to destroy the powers that they've given us, that we've got already. They can't tell us that there's going to be a great jobs bonanza with Scottish independence because Brexit threatens thousands of Scottish jobs as well as jobs in other parts of the United Kingdom. They can't tell us anymore that why risk the insecurity of Scottish independence when you can have the safety, security and stability of the United Kingdom. Well, there is no safety, security and stability in the United Kingdom anymore. There's only the uncertainty of Brexit. So as we go into this second independence referendum, the choice facing Scotland is, do we have an uncertainty, the uncertainty of independence, where it's our voice that counts, where it's our voice that matters, and when it's the people of Scotland that decide the path that Scotland takes? Or do we sit at the back of Theresa May's Brexit bus, unable to influence the course of events as they drive it off a cliff? That's the choice facing us now. And it's because the cause of independence is so much stronger, because we're going into the second independence campaign with the support of almost half the population, that the likes of Ruth Davidson are so determined to avoid it happening at all. Make no mistake, if Ruth Davidson really believed that she could win a second independence referendum for the United Kingdom by a convincing and healthy margin, she would be the very first person to say, we need to have it right now, bring it on. The reason that Ruth Davidson doesn't want an independence referendum is because she knows she's going to lose it. And it's our job to make sure that she does. And I have every confidence that the people of Scotland will do that, because this independence referendum, this campaign, it doesn't belong to Nicola Sturgeon, it doesn't belong to the SNP, it doesn't belong to Patrick Harvey, it belongs to all of you. It belongs to everybody in this town. It belongs to everybody in this country. This is our campaign. This is a do-it-yourself independence movement. We're going to do this for ourselves. The reason that we want Scottish independence isn't because we think Scotland is better than anywhere else. Isn't because we hate anybody or we think that we're better than anyone else. The reason we want Scottish independence is because we recognise that there is so much that is wrong with this country and we need to fix it. Because the only people that are going to fix it are going to be us. Remember what your ma, your granny always tell you. If you want something done, do it yourself. And if we want to make this a better country, we need to do it ourselves. Because no other bugger's going to do it for us. And that's why we need Scottish independence. We need Scottish independence because the problems that this country has have been caused by unaccountable politicians in Westminster, people that are not accountable to us, and it makes no difference what we say, it makes no difference how we vote. They'll do what they want, what's in their interests. I want Scottish independence because I don't trust politicians. I want to keep them close to me so that their arses are within kicking distance of my feet. And we can do that. We can do that with Scottish independence. Now, we've all got our own very different visions of what we want an independent Scotland to be. I've got my vision, I'm sure you've got yours. I want Scottish independence because I want rid of the obscenity of Trident. I want Scottish independence because I would like a republic instead of a monarchy. I want Scottish independence because I want something done about the disgusting land ownership when a tiny number of people own vast tracts of this country. I want Scottish independence because I don't want future generations of kids to be brought up like I was in the east end of Glasgow in North Lanarkshire and to think that the poverty and deprivation that I witnessed was normal, because it's not bloody normal in one of the richest countries in the world. And we need to do something about that. And up to very recently, all those were my top reasons for wanting Scottish independence. But I've got a better one now. And it came to me when I was doing a talk up in the north, up in Forres, up here in Inverness, about a year or two back. And we were talking about reasons for wanting an independent Scotland. And a guy put his horn up. And he said, when Scotland's independent, we'll have marine stamps. And I'm like, that's great. That could be a brilliant argument if you know a mad stamp collector. You know, it's not something I'd thought about. Doesn't figure in my top reasons, but you go for it. And he went, no, he says, no, you don't understand. He says, when Scotland's independent, we'll only have marine stamps. See that Doug? That Doug's going to own a stamp. And that's why I want Scottish independence now. Because that means that when Scotland's an independent country, that Doug's going to be on a stamp. And that means Ruth Davis is going to leave my Doug's behind. Thank you all very much for listening.
Isn't he brilliant? Paul Kavanagh. Actually, we're going to meet Paul Kavanagh's school teacher later on. There's another story, yeah. One of the people that was responsible for creating the monster. Okay, but what Paul said was totally right. Susan, are you there? There's too much testosterone on the stage today. But a couple of the speakers have cut things short, and we're going to have a couple of minutes from a woman, now an activist, who was with Dundee against Cuts, but she's caused it in Falkirk, she's caused it in Fife, she's caused it in Dundee. Susan Archibald, everybody.
Well, firstly, can I just say, before I came here the day, I was really worried about, well, do I need a haircut? Look at me, I mean, working day and night trying to help folk, my hair's a mess, eh? When I came here, I brought my Italian neighbour. And we really need to look at all our neighbours, regardless of what country they've came from. They've came to Scotland, so they're Scottish, and we'll have to rise above the crap that we're getting from Westminster, because we are Scotland. We do treat people different, and it's all the way to be. But times are really tough out there, and they're talking about poverty. Poverty is getting worse. I work with people that have sold everything they have in their house. They didn't have any food. They're going to food banks, and this isn't just people on benefits. This is people that are working out there just trying to get a meal, the next meal for the day. Half the folk, a lot of folks say, right, oh, but if you go and get a job, everybody's in work. Loads of folk are working, they still can't make ends meet. The majority of folk that I speak for can't be here today because they're too ill or they're no fit, and they've been put through horrendous assessments year after year, having their benefits stripped to them. Folk with cancer, dementia, being treated inhumane. It's just disgusting, utterly disgusting. And we're sitting watching them doing that every day at Westminster. I need everybody in Scotland for it to come and shut the job centres down, shut Westminster down, get rid of Atos, get rid of the lot of them, because we shouldn't be treating people the way they're treating folk. It's just disgusting. I think we really need to step up and stand together when we see the marches on the street for independence, we see the marches for pride, and we see the marches for race. Where is everybody when it comes to a march when we're trying to ask for support? We're on this together, but for as long as we allow Westminster to divide aged, elderly with older, working with non-working, disabled with black against white, we'll never get there. We'll have to stand beside each other united. It's the only way we can do it. So I was really worried about coming to this all under one banner the day, because I had seen the tweets about it wasn't accessible. How would I make it? Well, sorry, I've never felt more prouder in my life, because I came and I parked a mile away. And when the procession came along and I said to this woman called Linda, a security wife, where will I go? And she put me right at the front. And I was never so proud to lead my fellow countrymen and women onto this battlefield today. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. But please remember, there is so many people out there fighting just to feed their families, fighting just for to manage to live day to day. Please, for God's sake, we are Scotland. Let's take everybody with us.
Okay, Susan. Tell us you'll take 2 minutes. Yeah, horror. Okay, right, next up, we've got some cracking names. Sorry, beg your pardon. The Perth bus. If you're from Perth and you're getting a bus, you need to go just now because it's leaving. At the visitor centre. I didn't know they had buses in Perth. If you're from Perth and you're getting your stretch limo. Right, okay, we've got some cracking speakers still to come. Your local ex-MP, amongst others, and then we're going to have the wonderful Amanda Brown closing the show. Okay? Damn right, worth waiting for, worth hanging about for. Send you home with your toes tapping and a smile on your faces. But in the meantime, we've got one of the regular marchers, speakers and unconditional supporters of these events, a strong voice through the Thatcher years, the Blair years, through the NDRF campaign, the Solidarity Parties, Tommy Sheridan.
Thanks very much, Sean. Brothers and sisters, I think, in common with many of you who have marched today and marched in Glasgow and marched in Dumfries, and you're going to march in Inverness, and you're going to march in Dundee, you're going to march in Edinburgh, we're going to be in Freedom Square on the 15th of September. I think, in common with you, the mood has changed in Scotland. The mood has changed in Scotland. And I think our appeal is the grassroots activists. Our appeal is to the SNP as the political leadership of the Yes movement. We're the grassroots. We are the foot soldiers. But we need the political leaders to recognise that timing is everything. Timing is everything. We have a mandate for NDRF 2. If we don't use the mandate, we might lose the opportunity, brothers and sisters. We might lose the opportunity for a whole generation. We have some people who say, friends, because we're allowed to have discussions in the big Indy tent. We're allowed to have discussions about timing. And some people say, but Tommy, shouldn't we wait till the polls say a majority? And I say, no, we can't wait till they say there's a majority. Because if we did that, we would have never had a referendum in the first place in 2014. The truth is, we're starting now, not on 20%. We're starting at 45%. 45%. We need to convince around 5 or 6% of the people of Scotland. Brothers and sisters, I think that is easily within our grasp. We had a campaign in 2014 where we had everybody against us. We had the media against us. We had the press against us. We had the Labour Party telling lies about us. Now we're started at 45%, and the lies that were told in 2014 won't be as effective as they were 4 years ago. The pensioners who were scared for their pensions, the shipyard workers that were told, if you vote for independence, you'll not get any orders, the workers in the civil service who were told they're going to take all the jobs away. Lie after lie after lie. Brothers and sisters, it worked in 2014, but only narrowly. Only narrowly. We started 12 months before the referendum at 20% in the polls. 20% in the polls, and we went to 45% in the polls. Brothers and sisters, ask yourselves this. If we're starting at 45%, who doesn't think we can't get to 60% within a 6-month campaign? Of course we can. Of course we can. What has also been apparent, brothers and sisters, particularly this last couple of weeks, is the realization that the SNP as a political party are the representatives of the hopes and the dreams of the indie movement. They have been sent to Westminster not to cooperate, not to compromise, not to become part of that horrible, rotten, stinking corpse that represented in Westminster. They're there not to settle down. They're there to settle up. That's why they're in Westminster, brothers and sisters. And we have to ask them to be more rebellious, not less rebellious, to create more problems, to tell that clique in Westminster loud and clear, this movement is not anti-English. This movement is anti-Westminster, anti-poverty, anti-nuclear weapons. And this movement is not about erecting more barriers to ordinary men and women who want to come and live and work in an independent Scotland. We as a new nation, we should recognise that we are an immigrant nation. We are a mongrel society made up of all different races, all different cultures. The only people that an independent Scotland should be wary about welcoming and letting into our country are the proven racists and bigots like the Donald Trumps of the world. He shouldn't be allowed back in Scotland, brothers and sisters. Let's join together and say we're going to unite against Donald Trump being welcome anywhere in Scotland. We, as a new nation, we've all got different ideas. I want a republic. I want our own currency. I want a national bank. Some of you want to stay in Europe. Some people want to come out of Europe. That's fine. But what we have to emphasize all across the political spectrum is you can't be a conditional independence supporter. You can't say, I'm only supporting independence if you do this or if you do that. What you have to say is, once we get our independence, then we decide the type of Scotland that we want to build. It's no use. It's no use having debates about Europe, about royalty, about currency, if we don't get the right to decide our own affairs. Independence is the start of the journey, not the end of the journey, brothers and sisters. I want to say this in my final remarks. Some people, as we were involved in the march, some people were quite rightly saying that we were a wee bit tired. There was quite a bit of an incline. Sometimes we were moving a couple of steps at a time and it was tiring. But it put me in mind of why we're here. Let's remember, the Battle of Bannockburn took 2 days. They fought for 2 days to try and remove an occupying force from our country. And they were successful. And Scotland's independence was secured for 300 years. Brothers and sisters, it put me in mind as we were marching and why we were here and looking at the statue of the Bruce. It put me in mind of the old trade union banner that I think should inspire us all. The old trade union banner that reads, "The past we inherit, the future we build." Let's do it, brothers and sisters. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, as always, Tommy Sheridan. Apache Alba, just before everybody goes, Apache Alba, the guys that have provided all the PA and the sound equipment here today, thanks to those guys. Dragged it all the way up to the West Coast. Check the guys online if you're booking any parties or weddings or anything like that. Give them a shout, okay? Good rates to Indie family. I'm going to hear a quick few words now from Ciarán McKechnie from the Stop the War Coalition before we hear from the CND, your local ex-MSP, and no less than an ex-ambassador.
Oh, hi everybody. Before I make a few remarks on behalf of the Stop the War Coalition, I also want to thank All Under One Banner. I've been the Chief Steward for the last 8 demonstrations with a wonderful team who have made sure that everyone who's part of this movement feels equal, feels safe, and are allowed to express their opinions in this movement. So a big round of applause to All Under One Banner for making this day absolutely possible. And I've seen something there for the BBC saying that there was 8,000 on the march. There was 8,000 at the front of the march. The march, I believe, was somewhere in the region of 20,000. We know when the police say there's 15, we know it's much bigger than that. And it's important because every time we have a march, it's getting bigger than the one before. 10,000 in Dumfries, 20,000 here. The challenge is on for Inverness to make it 30,000. And then we have the Yes City Dundee, hopefully 50,000. Anybody here for Edinburgh? Let's make the Edinburgh demonstration the biggest demonstration for independence the country has ever seen. That is the historical opportunity that we have within our grasp. Our movement is getting bigger, it's more confident, it's better organised, and you know what? It's a movement based on hope, not despair. Hope, not fear. And that means we are proud to say we are different from Westminster. We're different from the people like Trump who want to separate children from their parents and lock them in cages. What a disgrace against humanity. The society that we want to build in Scotland, I believe is one, as everybody here agrees, one that's free of nuclear weapons. One where we use the money to solve our mental health crisis. I'm a mental health nurse, and I see the crisis in our society. And when Susan Archibald says, let's take them on over benefit cuts and sanctions, we need to do that. People are killing themselves because of the Tories and because of sanctions. So see the money we want to waste on Trident. Let's invest it in our schools, our hospitals, and nurses and counsellors, and making people feel better about themselves. On the detour to Inverness, what I'm going to ask everyone to do is take a little detour to Glasgow on Friday the 13th. And when Tommy says we need to stop Trump, he's absolutely right. Trump thinks he's going to walk in here. Well, we've got news for him. There'll be tens of thousands on the streets of Glasgow on Friday the 13th. Nightmare day for Donald Trump. Please build that demonstration. We're an anti-racist movement. We're black, we're white, we're gay, we're straight, we're dynamite. Let's keep it going. Friday the 13th, Glasgow. Stop Trump.
Thank you, Kieran McKechnie. Okay, yeah, yeah, sorry. Paul Kavanagh earlier on said that one of his teachers is here, somebody that was an influence on Paul Kavanagh in his younger life, a role model to Paul Kavanagh. So the guy's got something to say, obviously, he's got some insights. Even though he's better known as somebody that usually doesn't get this far into a rally because he's usually at the jail now. He's usually being lifted. Why does he get lifted? Because he's a man of peace. From a CND, Brian Quayle.
Thank you. It's lovely to see such wonderful people here. On Wednesday, 3 days ago, I chained myself to the railings around Parliament in London, along with 50 other people in Trident ploughshares. We chained ourselves to the railing in protest at the British government's refusal to recognise the international treaty banning nuclear weapons. Now here I am in Bannockburn. That might sound completely disconnected. It is actually not. It is intrinsically connected. The two things are intrinsically connected. The most painful and powerful manifestation of our lack of independence is the imposition on Scotland of the world's most powerful machine, the mass killing of human beings. They call it Trident. Now you may remember, I was a Latin teacher. Trident means 3 teeth. It's the name of the spear that Poseidon had. And it's nice and classical and reassuring and Latin and all that crap. There is no word to describe it. It is Trident is the worst thing in the world. You cannot name me or conceive of anything worse than that. And that is a supreme symbol of our lack of independence, the fact that that is imposed upon us against the will of our churches, society, trade unions, artistic and intellectual communities. So the only way we can free ourselves from this obscenity is independence. So my final point is independence. Independence is therefore, we're not just talking about the governance of Scotland. We're talking about a moral issue of incomparable immensity, with global significance. An independent Scotland would break the nuclear logjam, because the British state would have to give up Trident. It cannot simply be shunted down to anywhere south. There is no place in the UK that Trident can operate from other than the Coalport fast lane complex. So our freedom is the freedom of this whole island from nuclear terrorism. for that reason, can I finish by asking you all to put the 22nd of September in your diaries, because there's going to be a huge international demonstration at Fast Lane with massive international support. There are people coming from America, Russia, Germany, you name it. Why? Because when we signed the international treaty on the 7th of July last year, we're not an independent country with no representatives there, but we had non-governmental organisations, and they reported there was great international interest in what is happening here in Scotland. So they are going to support us. 22nd of September. Get it in your diary. Be there. And show the world that we don't want Trident. We want our freedom, freedom from nuclear terrorism, freedom to be able to live a life of a normal, decent country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brian. Okay, a local man now, one of the historic 56 that we sent down to Westminster a few years ago. Your local SNP ex-representative, Stephen Patterson.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I had originally been told that I'd be welcoming people at the beginning and introducing, so it's not quite worked out to plan. Thank you. It's not quite worked out to plan. But as a local speaker and coming from just 2 miles in that direction, welcome to those of you that left. It's been a fantastic event today, and the numbers here were astounding. And let's just hope we get the coverage that this event deserves. And a lot of points have been made, and we're at the end of the event. I'm going to make just a very few brief points about where we are and where we're going. Events at Westminster are obviously in my mind because I'm still looking at what my colleagues are achieving down there, fighting the cause, and they fought the cause for independence, each and every one of them. All the time they've been down there over the past 2 years, and for the ones that have served longer, even longer than that. And I say served as if it's a sentence, because that's what it is. Each and every one of us wants the powers delivered back to Scotland as soon as possible, and that time is coming soon now. When we look at the powers that are exercised in our name, things like immigration, taxation, welfare, defence, these are not exercised in the interest of Scotland. The last speaker made that point very well indeed. And we have to really take the opportunity that now presents itself to go forward towards independence. Because in the last couple of weeks, what's come out of Westminster is that it's absolutely clear now the contempt with which the Westminster Parliament, the Tory group in that Parliament, and the establishment there hold Scotland in. There is no doubt about that. And of course we know that. We're already in the Yes movement. We fought in the last campaign and for many campaigns before that. But the crucial number of people that are in the middle, the people that we need to persuade, they cannot be persuaded because there can be no serious argument that devolution works when it has a veto from Westminster. No serious argument there. And therefore we can go out and get that majority that we only just failed to get the last time. And I'm utterly confident that we can and we will do that. The choice that we're left with now, the choice that we face, is to accept that the Parliament so hard won in Scotland, so hard won and reconvened in 1999, has a veto from Westminster. I don't accept that. I don't accept that. If devolution has been proven not to work, we have to take the next logical step. And that means that all the powers have to come to Scotland. There can be no veto from Westminster. That's a choice before us. And I say simply, let's take it forward to independence. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Neil Mackay from All Under One Banner, and I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you that's here today. And the reason I'm up here is I want to talk about the buses that's going back to Glasgow. So for everybody that was on with a double-decker and a single bus, both of them are leaving at the Bannockburn Heritage Centre at 7 o'clock sharp. So for whoever was on them, and also if you meet anybody that asks that, the Heritage Centre's over there and we're leaving at 7 o'clock sharp. Okay, so I can't begin to say how proud I am to be amongst all of you, and I look forward to seeing Inverness, like here says, let's go for 30,000. Let's make it fucking massive. All the best. Thank you for hanging about, everybody. Well worth it. We've got a final speaker coming up soon. Greg Murray, I think, if he's still here. And then a young lady. Excuse me. Hey. More lost property. I should have gone to cash converters. Okay, a tablet. If you can log on to it, come down and see us. Steph, the musician, are you still in the house at all? No. Craig Murray? No. Okay then. That's us winding up. Because the musician that we had to wind up the show has got to go home. Even accomplished indie musicians have wee dogs sitting at home waiting for dinner. So that was unfortunate. Again, it was a symptom of our own success today. The whole thing started an hour late because it took so long for the 15,000 people to get in here. But folk have had to go catch buses and stuff like that. So, do you know what? Rather than finish with another old guy talking about history, or rather than finish with somebody singing some songs, this is all about the future, isn't it? Kevin, are you sure you don't want to play a song? Are you sure you don't want to play a song? Yeah, we want to hear from Kevin go, don't we? Okay. Before Kevin comes on and does a song, Independence Day, Kevin. Keys that one. We love that. This is all about the future. So we're going to hear from a young woman now who has a future. Okay, Gabrielle, come and talk to us. Not as long as your daddy did, but...
Thanks, Sean. Good afternoon. I am so pleased and proud to be invited to say a few words today. Many of my fellow pupils at school did not know that Scotland was once an independent nation, and most do not know the significance of the Battle of Bannockburn. It is wrong to glorify wars, as wars are brutal, bloody, and often futile. However, Scotland had been invaded by another country, and it was therefore necessary to fight back. That's what the Battle of Bannockburn is all about. Led into battle by Robert the Bruce, the Scottish army were outnumbered on June 23rd, 1314, and less equipped for the battle, but they won anyway, and Scotland's independence was soon secured. Today, it is fortunate that we don't need to shed blood to secure independence, or lift a heavy claimer. All we have to do is campaign harder and lift a lead pencil to vote for yes. Like you, I was disappointed in 2014. But also like you, I am confident we will win the next time, hopefully soon. I want to live in a Scotland that cares for people and looks after the elderly and infirm. A Scotland that offers all young people the chance to succeed. A Scotland without immoral nuclear weapons. As a 13-year-old in Bannockburn today, I want to say proudly and confidently, my name is Gabrielle Sheridan, and I will grow up in an independent and nuclear-free Scotland. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Okay, folks, thank you very much for hanging about. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day. I hope you'll agree. Thanks to everybody for coming along. Thanks to everybody for volunteering. Please remember and pick up the field looks pretty good, actually. It looks nice. What other group of people could bring 15,000 people to a field and leave it looking as immaculate as I say? Yes. Come join the 45, because that's the way we operate. So thanks for coming, everybody. Safe journey home, and hopefully see you at Snecky or Dundee. Stepped in the name.
Kevin Cole, everybody. Thank you.
He's shouting, give us a 45. No bother. Okay, I wrote this song a couple of days after the 2014 referendum. And just so proud to be one of the 45. But as speakers have said before, we've got to reach out and bring people in. I'm sure there's a lot of people who've already crossed over to the 45. I should be singing Come Join the 55 probably, but here we go. We stand proud, conscience we did not yield to the battlefield. The propaganda, the shameful lies, the mask salute of the skies. For social justice, prosperity, turn a dark country or the stuff of wars. On the 45, we stand together, united we're on the 45, the torch is lit. And never shall it fade. Join the 45. On into Trident, on the legal wars, the killing, the dying, for the rich man's cause. On into Westminster, elitist rule. Etonian ways up and down the crew. So come and join us, all shoulders to the wheel. Strength and numbers, Scotland shall rule. We stand together, united we'll rise. 45, torch is lit and never shall it fade. Join the 45. Till the rocks they melt in the sun, shall press on till the day is done. Till the locks they run dry, will not eat till the days realize. So come join us, or show us the world. Step up no most, Scotland shall prevail. We stand together, united we rise. 45, torches lit. And never shall it fade. Join the 45. Join the 45. Join the 45. Thanks very much, folks. See you next time. All the best. Can I get a big round of applause for Sean? He's done a brilliant job today. Take care of yourselves. All the best.
I'm on my from misery.
Signal whatsoever. No signal.